how many accidents have you had in your lifetime? Take that number and consider how many times you've actually had to use your auto insurance. It's not very high, is it? As with most of you, I have always been upset with the ridiculous gouging prices of car insurance, and I especially understand the struggle as a teenager with two cars, as well as being a full-time college student, even though I've never actually been in an accident. It sounds ridiculous because it honestly is. We need to impose regulations on these insurance providers in order to halt and recede their ever-increasing prices. Insurance companies know that we are legally required to purchase, and they take advantage of that, constantly raising prices and refusing full payouts without asking for more money. This is going to be my speech over imposing new reasonable auto insurance regulations for Americans. Oh, come on. The auto insurance requirement. Everyone who wants to drive a car on a public road must insure their vehicle in some way in order to be allowed to drive. In fact, as the U.S. Department of State states, proof of insurance is required when applying to register a motor vehicle, meaning that in order for you to purchase a vehicle and put it in your name, you must already have car insurance covering it. Furthermore, the U.S. Department of State states that thereafter proof of insurance is required on the semi-annual or annual renewal of insurance policy. It doesn't matter how safe of a driver you are, your race, your background, age, or gender, you are required to have car insurance in order to drive your car. While insurance is an important safety net, it is a surprising number of drivers that will go their entire lives without ever having to use car insurance. I'm sure as many of you, like myself, have never even seen the opportunity to use your car insurance. However, we continue to pay them what they ask because we have to. The rates we pay for car insurance rise every year for a plethora of reasons, most of which boil down to the influx of new drivers and obviously inflation. These are both great excuses to justify the price increase. However, USA Facts stated in a recent article that insurance costs are rising faster than general inflation. The May 2024 Consumer Price Index data indicated that the Motor Vehicle Insurance Index, the change in insurance cost over time, was approximately 2.7 times higher than the nationwide inflation rate. It doesn't seem quite right, now does it? Considering inflation should be the leading cause for a rise in car insurance premiums, shouldn't it at least follow the national inflation curve rather than exceeding it? In fact, as shown in the graph by USA Facts, since 2020, vehicle insurance rates have risen by 53%, as it can be seen in this graph right here. Oops, by the way. Just as everything else, insurance is business, and business is required by law to buy from. This fact gives them all the power when the consumer should be the one with the said power. Since citizens are required to purchase car insurance and to drive, insurance companies should also be required by law to pay out and charge proper reasonable rates. There are many reasons to determine the cost of insurance, as we discussed earlier, but there is one major factor, the pure premium, as the Economics Observatory calls it. The pure premium is described as a fundamental component that serves as the cornerstone component for covering anticipated claims and losses. Essentially, the pure premium is what insurance companies use to evaluate how much they might have to pay out to any given customer in the event they get into an accident. Insurance is a risk for the companies, as a given consumer could be a terrible driver, which leads them to charging everyone more money to cover for that risk. Or, at least, that would make sense if they actually gave payouts during accidents. However, it's nowhere near as simple as that. See, in the event of an accident, if you choose to use your insurance, you'll be charged an extra premium every month on top of your normal insurance rates because you got into an accident. In order for you to keep your same rates, they charge you an accident forgiveness cost. Being that you're required to buy the service, it should be at least fair to have fixed rates, and consumers should actually be allowed to use the benefits that they pay for. See, auto insurance is a requirement, and it should be. It makes sense. Because without auto insurance, or forcing people to have auto insurance, it would be dangerous to drive on the road because no one would care. However, insurance companies have abused this requirement, charging whatever they want for us to, because they know we have to buy it. As someone who absolutely loves cars, it's quite frustrating that I can't afford to buy more than a few because of ridiculous insurance rates that are only as high as they are so they can profit. I'd like to change that. Even though many of you may just use these machines for transport, I know that you agree. I know that no one wants to pay prices upwards of $200 a month just to be able to drive themselves to work. So let's fix it. Let's make them change. Because if we don't, they will only continue to gouge us for their own profit.